by Brian Aldiss. I dreamed I was young last night, said Saul bet at Rome, heavily over breakfast, showing his long lashes to his coward mistress as he poured cream over his jam puff. My, what fun, Paddy exclaimed boredly. She wanted to go shopping in the bazaar, not sit or lie with Saul all the time. This Indian holiday was a real freak-out. Yeah, it was old Carl Jung, beard and all, said Saul, whipping up the mixture on his plate and spooning it toward his ample lips. Boy, there I was in some damned church or something in Switzerland, and this trapdoor opened at my feet. Was I there? No, you weren't there. I was alone, wearing this black robe, see? And I just formulated the concepts of psychoanalytic theory, and then this hole opened at my feet. Her interest ceased when she learned that she was excluded from the dream. Hazy memories of other lovers and sexual gymnasts floated into her mind. She couldn't recall a one of them that had ever dreamed of her. She looked over the balcony at the bone-white beach, the line of canted palms, and the ocean. Paddy told herself how much this was all costing Saul and tried to feel enjoyment. And there at the bottom of the lowest cellar were a couple of skulls, sort of mouldering and indistinct. Saul was saying. He was head of the New York branch of Zadar Smith World. Suddenly recollecting the fact, he piled on more cream and added sugar to the puff. The turbaned waiter appeared, silent at his elbow, and refilled his cup from the silver coffee pot. Although I'd climbed down so far, somehow I couldn't bend down to reach those skulls. Now, wasn't that a funny thing? Yeah, crazy. Say, are we going down to the bazaar today? Saul, licking his spoon, he gave her a heavy stare. They got riots in Kerala, you know. That the manager says it ain't safe outside the holiday strip. Oh, Saul, let's go see the bazaar. We can take a car. We'll see. Women never listen to you, he thought. They were okay, but they didn't listen. You could pay men to listen to you, but you couldn't pay women to listen to you. Might be an idea worth developing there. He switched on one of the rings on his finger and said into it, You can pay men to listen to what you say, but you can't pay women to listen to what you say. Must be a way of cashing in on a thought like that. I listen to what you say, Sawley, Paddy said. They collected their gear, put on dark glasses and refrigerator hats, and drifted through the foyer of the hotel. On the way, Saul tossed down a few dollars. This hotel had no nonsense with rupees, and picked up a wing of chicken from a spit to chew. He was lean with a flat stomach, a fine hunk of masculine body, she had to admit. I don't know how you keep your figure, Saul. Why, you eat just about all the time, and you hardly have any tummy at all. To speak of. Me, I just diet and diet. Yet look at the size of my thighs. She knew they were worth looking at. Chewing, he slouched out into the sun and stood gazing across the immense spread of the Arabian Ocean. He meditated on whether to bother answering, slewing his eyes round as he did so, taking in the scene. The great hotel sprang up out of the sand like a fortress, its array of bulging balconies forming gun turrets that ceaselessly watched the sea. Coloured umbrellas on the balconies, gay as death, waited to gun down the sun when it set. The hotel was inviolate, an implacable holiday annihilator. Round it clustered low shoddy buildings. The ramshackle bulk of an electric generator with auxiliary solar-powered traps. The staff living quarters, piles of old crates, a small sewage plant, old cars, and old bicycles. A goat, an Indian charpoy with a man lying on it. Rubbish in pompous containers and builders' materials. You want to get a Crosswell's tape, honey, that's my secret. What's a Crosswell's tape, for God's sake? He winced. Zadar Smith World had handled Crosswell's promotion for 6-7 years now, and this fluff had never heard of their tape. It's a worm, a laboratory mutated version of a beef tapeworm. Thoroughly safe, only needs replacing once every decade. Lodges in the small intestine, causes no discomfort, enables you to eat up to 50% more, and keep your figure. Behind the hotel was the 20-foot-high wire barrier. It ran parallel to the sea for a long distance, as far as the eye could be bothered to see, in one direction. In the other, it angled off behind the hotel and ran down into the sea. Behind the wire barrier stood or sat solitary figures, or sometimes there was a little family group. Although there were possibly several hundred figures waiting behind the wire, they were motionless and well spaced, except round the gate, and so the effect was one of solitude rather than overcrowding. Do you think one of those tapes would help my thighs? She got her camera ready to photograph the Indians behind the barrier. There was a cute little girl, just standing there, not a stitch on, about 4 years old. You couldn't tell, really, with a cute little fat pot on her. Make a nice picture. A car slid up with a Sikh driver, luxuriant behind beard and green turban. Paddy took a photograph of him. The Sikh smiled and opened the car door for her. He was hairy, wow. Saul didn't have any hair at all, not anywhere on his body. Saul caught and diagnosed her, glanced at the driver. These guys have lousy oil ratings, honey, you know that. This guy has probably never done better than 7 in his life. In perfect English, the Sikh said, "Excuse me, sir, but there are famine riots in the bazaar every day this week. It may be dangerous to go there. The hotel must protect us. Are we supposed to stay behind that lousy chicken wire all week? You are in front of it, sir. It is there for your protection. Well, you protect us in the bazaar. I take it you have a revolver, man." "Yes, sir, I have one here." "You shoot well?" "I'm a very good shot, sir. Or do I not get this job?" "Let's get going then, bazaar, and step on it." As the big black car slid through the gates, Saul tossed his gnawed chicken bone out of the window. The ragged crowd scrabbling in the dust reminded him of his dream. Wonder those skulls. Wonder whose skulls they were. Guess it must have meant I was exploring the unconscious of mankind. You know, honey, I am a kind of genius. I invented the orgasm rating system. What a rotten road they have here, say Saul. I'd hate to live in India, wouldn't you? They're so dirty and poor. The poor and dirty were pressing close to the car, shouting or waving hands. The Sikh put his sandaled foot down and they booked along the road. They're very underdeveloped, that's why. Yeah, the org rating system was my big contribution to advertising. Made my name. Sold 1,000 products. Then the psychoanalytical guys come along and discovered my concept and had real bedrock psychological truth behind it. How you like that? Saul, darling, do you really think it's safe here? Suppose your dream was a warning about venturing among primitive people or something. The car drew up under an avenue of tattered deodar trees, where dogs scuttled and people squatted. There were a few stalls here and shrill music playing. Saul continued his lecture. Since then, research has proved that there are different levels of sexual enjoyment, just like different levels of sleep. But Asia estimates that 85% of the population in this area, male and female, never do any better than the grade 7 orgasm. How do you like that? And in India alone, boredom drove her out of the car. She stood under the trees, a chubby blonde in high-heeled sandals, wearing almost nothing. The scarecrows about her had eyes of coal. They all wanted to sell her anything they had: melons, brass statues, photos of little girls embracing goats, jewels, clay figurines, dried fish. Paddy fell into a panic. Saul, those dream skulls. Suppose they were ours, yours and mine. The crowd pressed closer. She hit out with her handbag. One of the beggars touched her. Then they fell on her. Paddy was screaming. Saul was shaking the Sikh's shoulders. Shoot, shoot, you lunatic, or give me the gun. He was vividly aware of the noise and the heat and the stink. The Sikh started up the car, backed it swiftly away, turned, raced back for the hotel. Better not to shoot, sir, or we all get very much trouble. Saul sank back into his seat, chewing his lips. Maybe you're right. The hotel can send out a rescue party. She wasn't in my dream. That was just me, dressed up as Jung. I hate dreaming about death or all that. Inside the hotel, it was wonderfully cool and quiet. Saul ordered a martini to soothe his nerves.